My name is Kirsten and I'm the teacher.
Racket sports, general adaptations and gameplay. Picture of bell tennis ball, large birdie, bell ping pong ball, bell wristlet, sound source, rackets, tactile maps, tactile racket sports diagrams, artist's figurine.
In this video, we are going to be talking about the general adaptations and gameplay overview for racket sports in general. You want to make sure that the student is coming in with the same information and foundational level of skills as their peers. Pre-teaching is an essential way to do this. For more information about pre-teaching, please check out our NWABA pre-teaching video. When orienting the student to the general overview of the game, you want to use a tactile map to help them gather an understanding of how all of the skills are used together for gameplay, how they are used in the court overall, and in general, what does the court look like? Tactile maps can be made from string on cardboard, puffy paint on cardboard, or pipe cleaners on cardboard, or they can even be used by attaching Velcro shapes to a Velcro board, which I have in my hand. If students are a Braille reader, that tactile map should include Braille if there are labels for each of the words on there. If the student is someone who reads large print, that should be included in there as well. And having this high contrast is also helpful for students who see high contrast best. Similar to our tactile maps, tactile diagrams can be used with puffy paint, string, pipe cleaners on pictures of each of the skills. Having students walk through with a teacher or a peer prior to the general class orientation to the skill helps them to get an understanding of what is going to be talked about in the class. What language is going to be used in the class, such as what's a forehand, what's a backhand. Using an artist's figurine is a great way to help the student understand what the body movements should feel like on something that moves very similarly to human body parts. You can move it into a forehand for striking for tennis. How would that look different for badminton? You can have the student move it into the movements for ping pong, for serving, and you can even have someone else move the artist figurine into that specific movement, pass it on to the student with a visual impairment, have them feel what the body movements feel like, and then they can make that movement themselves.
Use a variety of equipment to make the skill accessible for the athlete.
In racket sports, a variety of different equipment is used, and different equipment can be used to help make this sport fully accessible for students with visual impairments. For tennis or any racket sports, a bell tennis ball can be used to help the students be able to track the ball because it is something that is audible. In my hand, I also have a badminton birdie. They come in a variety of sizes and colors. If students see one color better than another, equipment in that color should be used to help the student be able to identify that equipment better. And finally, we have our bell ping pong ball. Inside, this is a standard ping pong ball, and inside it has one ball bearing that as it hits against the inside of the ping pong, it makes a noise that is consistent and students are able to track it. For racket sports, there are a variety of different rackets available. When choosing equipment, first and foremost, you want to make sure that the equipment is appropriate in size to the student. Additionally, if a student is more at a foundational level, using equipment that has a larger striking head can be easier than using more standard size equipment, so they have a better chance of success and a better rate of success as they learn the skills, and then they can start progressing to more standard size equipment as their skills increase. In my hand, I have 3 standard sized rackets. We have a tennis racket, a badminton racket, and a ping pong paddle. If a student is playing ping pong, and they're just learning, they might find using a tennis racket or a badminton racket is going to be best for them because it has a larger striking head than our ping pong paddle, and that as they become more comfortable, they want to move towards a ping pong paddle.
Use a sound source to make gameplay accessible to the athlete.
I have a bell wristlet in my hand, and a bell wristlet can be added to the net so students can hear when the ball hits the net and can identify, all right, I heard the ball hit the net because I heard those bells ring, and can act appropriately. You can also use a beeping sound source and place that at the center of the net. When we are placing our sound source on the net, we want to make sure it is at the center and at the bottom of the net, and so that's a consistent place so the student can orient appropriately.
Use a tactile map to familiarize the athlete with gameplay.
Using your tactile map, you can have the teacher or a peer walk through the game as a whole with the student so that they know where they're going to serve from. When their opponent hits the ball, where might it hit in the court? When linking up skills, this teacher should ensure that the drills that the student is engaging in has them linking multiple skills together. When you are in gameplay with students with visual impairments, there are a couple of different rules to make the game more accessible. In tennis and ping pong, you can have the student have a 2-bounce rule where the ball is allowed to bounce twice on the student's side of the court before they need to hit it back to their opponent to give them additional tracking time. For all racket sports with good communication and fully accessible equipment, you can make this sport very accessible for all students. For more information about each of the individual racket sports as well as the skills employed in racket sports, please check out our other racket sports skills videos.
For more, visit the Sports Adaptations page at www.nwaba.org. Thank you for watching. Slide of NWABA logo.